Hello everyone, welcome. Welcome to this special strategy session on how to maximize your score in RRB PO mains exam. Those of you who are attempting the upcoming RRB mains exam, this should be going in your mind that how do we have a competitive edge over others by maximizing our score in this paper, right? Okay, and it's but natural that at this moment of time you would have that in mind. So how do we do that is something that we are going to discuss today. But before that, two things that I would like to tell you. First, who should look at this moment, and how should you use this session to maximize your score. So first, who should look at this? See, you must remember that during the prelims session also, the RRB PO prelims, Abhishek sir came up with the strategy for RRB PO prelims. Remember, right? Now, what was the purpose of that? 4 to 5 days we were to prelims at that point of time also. Today we are 4 to 5 days for mains. So what was the purpose of that and what is the purpose of today? Similar purpose. You see, we believe that till now you are clear about your identification of strengths, identification of your weaknesses. You have a mind map ready of how you are going to approach the exam. You know which questions of yours take how much time, right? So now when I would share with you the strategies, you would be able to take the best out of it, right? Now, some of you might at this point of time only have already maximized your score by by doing permutation combination of strategies in mocks and by arriving to that optimum solution. If you are one of those who have already arrived to an optimum solution where you are maximizing your score, you should take this lecture in a way where if you find something which can add value to that optimum attempts of yours, then use it, or else keep it as it is, because you are already at the maximum scores that are possible for that particular mocks. But if you are one of those who are still confused with, I have the knowledge, I have the ability to solve, but still my scores are not reflecting my potential, then for those I would suggest to stick to one of the strategies that I would be sharing with you. Try them out. You might vary it according to you a little, but stick to the basic structure of it and then maximize your score. Okay, right? So there are two kinds of people. One who have already maximized their score, they should try and find out whatever can add value from this lecture. And those who are still in the process of maximizing, for them it would be a shot in the arm, because they would get an idea of how to maximize their score. You just need to, a little bit of tweak you might be needed to do for yourself, but you just need to follow the basic idea that I share. Okay, right? So how are we going to do it? I am going to give you two strategies for the RRB PO mains exam, for attempting the paper, right? Now, why two strategies? Why not one? Simple. See, strategy is dependent upon the temperament of the person. Strategy is dependent upon the likings and the dislikings of a person. So these two strategies that I am going to suggest to you now, they are poles apart. I mean, they are very different from each other. So if a person is of one temperament, he might be predilected, he might be inclined towards one strategy and not be inclined towards the other, right? So do which you are comfortable with. So I will give you both the options. Pick up whichever you think would be more beneficial to you, right? Obviously that a little bit of tweak according to yourself is something that you need to do for yourself. Okay. Now, before I discuss the strategy, let's have a look at the structure of the paper. All of you know the structure of the paper, but still I will repeat it. 200 questions, 200 marks. and we have 120 minutes, right? These are the three parameters. There is no sectional timing. So you get a composite time of 120 minutes and you will have to manage your time accordingly, right? That's the biggest challenge, na? Because that's the biggest challenge that students face. But I would not take it as a challenge. That's also the biggest opportunity for you too. Because many people take it as a challenge. If you take it as an opportunity, you might as well stand a better chance than them to crack it. Okay, right. So, 200 questions, 200 marks, 2 hours. Now, are all the questions of same marks? No, they are a variable marking. For example, quant has 40 questions, 50 marks. Reasoning has same 40 questions, 50 marks. English has 40 questions, 40 marks. General awareness, 40 questions, 40 marks. But computer, 40 questions, 20 marks only, right? So this is the overall structure of the paper. Now, in this paper, what are the two strategies that we are going to talk about? Let's look at them one by one. Strategy 1. I will again repeat this for everyone who is listening to this. Go with either one of the strategy. I will be telling you strategy 1 and then I will be telling you to strategy 2. Whichever you think suits your temperament, fits your temperament, go with that. Okay? Strategy 1. The strategy 1 is based on the premise that we would alternately keep problem solving section and knowledge based section. See, the paper has problem solving sections 3 and 2 knowledge based section. So, problem solving sections, which are they? Quant, reasoning, high capability of problem solving sections, and English, medium capability of problem solving section, or Hindi, English or Hindi, right? Now, whereas in general awareness and computer, they are knowledge based section. So, the premise of strategy 1 is to alternate them. So, how would it come? Now, please understand here what is our assumption, that we do not get sectional time limit as it had been for years, right? So, we get a composite time. So, if we get a composite time, how do I divide my time to get the best benefit out of that time? Because time is limited, we cannot put lot of efforts in one section and ignore another section. We will have to maximize our score from the whole paper, na? Right? Okay. So, how do we approach? The first strategy, what I suggest is that do easy questions of quant or medium questions of quant in the first 20 minutes when you approach the quant as the first section. Then, quant is the problem solving section. Then, take up a knowledge based section, that is computer. 7 to 10 minutes you will take, not more than that. Direct questions come in computer, hardly 7 to 10 minutes, maximum 10 minutes. Get done with it. Then again another problem solving section, reasoning, 20 minutes. Now you might be thinking, sir, quant 20 minutes, reasoning 20 minutes, how would I complete? I am not talking about completing, my dear friends. What I am saying is that choose questions. Now what did I tell you? You know, the purpose that we are giving you strategy now, that we are assuming that you know what are your strengths, you know what time you take for which kinds of questions, right? So essentially you know how to pick questions. So for example, let me give an example. Quant, there are 40 questions. One glance through the quant paper for 2 minutes would tell you that, boss, these 10-12 questions are sitters. We can do them in 20 to 30 seconds each. So do them first. Then in those 2 minutes only, you could have identified that these another 7-8 questions are medium difficulty level. We can do them in 40 seconds to 45 seconds. Do them next. Right. So, you know, this is the way you would approach a section. You would not approach a section by doing the questions line by line, one after the other, right? So, we are assuming that over the months of practice that has been built up inside you, you already know how to choose questions. Now, use that capability in this strategy. Quant 20 minutes, choose the easy and medium level questions. Maybe you will be able to do 16 to 18 questions. Or if the paper is easy, you might be able to do 22 to 25 questions. I don't know. I mean, that would be dependent upon the kind of the questions you have. And it is all relative. Please understand, the absolute difficulty and easiness of the paper does not matter, because the paper is same for everyone, right? So if the paper is same for everyone on that day, then you do not need to think about that how many attempts you are doing. If on the relative difficulty level of that paper you are doing better than the rest, then you are okay. So in this 20 minutes of quant and reasoning, you are not supposed to do all the questions. I mean, if you are able to do all the question in 40 questions in 20 minutes, all the best. That's a great thing. That means you are so much capable that you can do those 40 questions in 20 minutes. Then no one can stop you. But mostly what would happen is that you would be able to do a substantial number of questions of easy and medium nature in these 20 minutes. Okay. Now after reasoning 20 minutes, where you would do, let's say, 3 sets or 4 sets of 15 to 20 questions total, and you are done with those questions in the first 20 minutes, then after 20 minutes move to general awareness. General awareness 15 minutes. 15 minutes would be enough to do the whole general awareness section. If you are taking more time than that, that means that you are taking extra time. Please try and do it within 15 minutes. Okay. Next, the last one remaining is English or Hindi. Now, take up the language section, and 20 to 25 minutes is more than enough to do. 25 minutes is more than enough to do the whole language section, right? Wrap the whole language section within 25 minutes. 20 minutes preferably, 25 minutes at the max. Wrap it up. Take it. Once you're done with this, so how much time you have taken? 20, 1 hour, 1 hour 25 minutes to hardly 1 hour 30 minutes now. You're left with another 30 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes, 30, 35 minutes. What would you do in that? Now, please understand that there is a sectional cutoff, but that sectional cutoff is not so high that you will have to balance the score of every section. No. Why did I tell you that not having a sectional time limit is an opportunity? Because you can maximize your score in this paper. Unlike papers of other bank PO where there is sectional time, even let's say, even if you can maximize your score in quant by taking another 10 minutes extra, would you get it? You would not get it, right? So that opportunity is not there in other bank PO papers, but that is there in RRB PO paper, and let's use that. So what would we use? Now, computer, general awareness and English is done. So we are left with quant and reasoning. Pick up the strengths of quant and reasoning and do them in the last 30 to 35 minutes. Now, all these questions that are now remaining in quant and reasoning, they are a group. Okay, don't pick up the strengths among them. So, if you think that these 5 are the questions of quant, that would that you would surely get them correct. But you'll have to spend 1 minute each. Give them, or 1.5 minutes each. Give them 7.5 minutes. Then move on to reasoning. This set of two set of 5 questions you can surely do. Give them 7-8 minutes. You're done with another 10 questions. So in this way you're maximizing. Achha, if you feel that the 20 questions that you have done in reasoning, I'm just giving an example. Don't keep these figures in mind, because that would change from paper to paper depending upon the level of questions that you get in the paper. Now, let's say you have done 20 questions of reasoning, and when you went through the reasoning paper, you did not think that there is anything else that you can do. But in quant, there are questions that you can do. So give your time to quant. Let's say there are 15 questions. You gave 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, and 15-20 minutes. You are done with all the questions of quant now. So you will be maximizing your score of the whole paper. Now you are left with the last 10 minutes. Try out one reasoning set. If you can do, it's better. If you cannot do, you are not losing anything. What is an idea of an ideal strategy? An ideal strategy for you is simple. That, boss, I do all of those questions that I could have done in the paper. Right. Now, hoping that I can do all the 200 questions, you can hope, but if you are not capable of doing 200 questions, you will not be able to do. But that does not mean that I would accept defeat in the paper. Shall I? I should not, because hardly anyone would be able to do all the 200 questions. So the game is on. Unless the paper is over, the game is on. So if we have some strengths, we stand a good chance of winning that. Remember always, it's not the best prepared person cracks the exam. It is a prepared person with the best way of approaching the paper, mindset, attitude, aptitude, both, that he or she cracks the paper, right? Okay. So, in this strategy, what will happen? You would ensure in the first 1 hour or 1 hour or in the first 1 hour only, we are done with all the easy questions of quant and reasoning, and you are also done with computer and general awareness full section. In the next 30 minutes, you are also done with 20 minutes, you are also done with English section. So, you are only left with quant and reasoning questions which are medium and difficult according to you, right? Okay, so that was strategy 1. Now, a lot of people might feel confident with this strategy, a lot of people might not feel confident with this strategy. Now, for them, I am giving another alternate strategy. Choose based on your priorities, choose based on your attitude. Okay. Now, this strategy is on the premise that we would do the knowledge based sections first, and then we will follow it up by the problem solving sections. Okay. How? Let me show you. Computer, start with computer. 10 minutes, you are done with 40 questions. General awareness, 15 minutes, you are done with another 40 questions. Then take up English or Hindi, 20-25 minutes, you are done with another 40 questions. So, look at it, my friends. In the first 25 minutes, you are done with 80 questions. In the first 45 to 50 minutes, you are done with 3 sections, and you are done with 120 questions. So, psychologically, this would give you a big push that my 3 sections are done, right? Okay, I am left with only 2 sections. Okay. Now what will do? 70 minutes you have for quant and reasoning, both the section together. Now, you remember that during the prelim strategy, Abhishek sir had asked you to follow one strategy if you are comfortable with it, that take the quant and reasoning section as a whole, right? If you take the quant and reasoning section as a whole, then you would not choose question from each section, but you'll utilize that 70 minutes time to maximizing the score from both the section together. Right? Now, you might be thinking that what about the cutoff? You see, if you are good at quant and reasoning, even average at quant and reasoning, it would be hardly likely that you are doing only quant question and missing all the reasoning. No, that would not be the case. Na? That all the quant questions you found easy and all the reasoning questions you found difficult. Right? That would not happen, no, most probably. So, what do you do is that easy questions of quant first, easy questions of reasoning first. So, your cutoff, sectional cutoff is done there only. Right? Now, whatever you do would be maximizing your score. Somewhat like in the strategy 1 also. See, in the strategy 1 also, you don't need to worry about the sectional cutoff. Sectional cutoff is done in the first 1 hour 20 minutes only. You don't even need to think about it. Think about the maximizing of the score for the next 30-40 minutes. Same here. So, if you maximize your score from quant and reasoning both, then you automatically would clear the sectional cutoff also and would maximize the score in there also. Clear? Right? Okay. So, this is strategy 2. Now, the question comes, who would take strategy 1, who would take strategy 2? Now, people who are, better off or more comfortable doing paper in a way where you would want to do problem solving for a particular period of time, then take a little bit of break. In the break, what you will do? You will do knowledge based module section. Okay. And then again do problem solving and then take again a break. For those people, strategy 1 is better. Okay. Now, for those students who has a flow of problem solving and are better off with problem solving at one go, at one sitting, for them strategy 2 would be more beneficial. Now, what would be that for you is something that you need to decide. How would you decide? Very simple. In the next 2 days, I mean today and tomorrow, you just apply this to mocks and see which you are more comfortable with, and create a way of approaching the paper, build around any one of these strategy, whichever you are comfortable with. Okay, right? So these were these 2 strategies that can help you maximize your scores in the RRBPO mains exam. Now, some points to remember before I log off for today. I told you how you should use it, who should use what, right? And what are the strategies. We discussed all that. But as I told you at the starting of the lecture that, scoring is a lot about your attitude. And there are some points of attitude, yes, with strategy, some parts of attitude would be addressed. But there are some points of attitude that has not been addressed with the strategy because they are internal in nature. Let me caution you so that you do not fall into the trap of those attitudinal loopholes. What are they? Let me just give you a reminder of them. I am sure that you know about this, but it happens now. Well, if you are reminded about that, you remember it. Okay. Now, first, don't fall in love with questions, my dear friend. You have a question, you know how much time it should be given to do that question, give that time. You are not able to solve, leave it. Don't get emotionally involved with that. Okay? Second, don't daydream or have nightmare inside the exam. Now, this is one single important thing that you need to remember. A lot of time what happens is that, for example, you did two sections well, now you start daydreaming. अरे यार ये तो नौकरी मुझे मिल ही गई, ये तो बढ़िया हो गया पेपर, this paper is going on so smooth, so good, and you start daydreaming about the job. Don't do that. Suicidal in nature. The opposite is also suicidal. You went through one section and went in bad, and you start criticizing, you start feeling guilty, you start thinking that what would happen to your family and stuff like that, what would happen to your life. Nightmarish situation. You'll have to avoid both of them. Okay? Right? Inside the exam, your whole focus should be on solving the paper. Read the question, solve the question, move on. If by chance, let's say you have wasted some time in either daydreaming or falling in love with a question, right? Don't waste some more by feeling guilty about it. Guilt feeling is not something that you should have inside the paper. बाहर निकलो फिर जितना मर्जी गिल्ट फीलिंग कर लो. Now inside the paper, please avoid it. ठीक है? Okay. Finally, don't try to predict or chase a particular cutoff inside the exam. Inside the exam, you do not know what kind of paper it is. You just know what you can do of that paper, what you cannot do of that paper. Again and again, I have been telling you that cutoff is something which is not something that you should worry about, especially inside the exam, because that will be determined by the competition, by how you also perform in there. So you maximize your performance. After you come out of the paper, this should be in your mind कि बस इससे ज़्यादा मेरे से ना हो पता आज. Today we couldn't have done more than this. Maybe with better knowledge, more knowledge we could have done, but today we couldn't have done more knowledge. So then what happens? That you did the best on that particular day possible. So your job is done. Whether it is enough for the cutoff or not, that's not your headache at that point of time. Okay? Right? So remember about these 4 traps, because if you go into one of these traps, you might waste precious time, and whichever strategy you choose, you might fail at that because you have wasted time. Okay? Okay. So that would be all for today. Hope this session helps you to plan your paper better in a better way. Thank you very much and all the best.